Hello everyone. It's noon and it is time for our presentation. We're really excited to share with you on Show Me the Money, 10 simple sustainability steps you can take that will save you money and the environment. And we're going to show you how easily you can save $1,000, the simplest thing you'll ever see. And one of you who's in the audience will have the opportunity to actually make money right here on our stage. So be ready for that. Really welcome you to the State Fair and the Eco Expo building, Eco Experience building, sustainability stage. And thank you for all of you who came out today in person. And also those of you joining us on the Alliance for Sustainability Facebook live stream from across the country and maybe even around the world. My name is Terry Gips. I volunteer as the president of the Alliance for Sustainability in Minneapolis, which I helped to co-found nearly 40 years ago. And I'm here with Abby Matthew, and I'll have Abby introduce herself. She is one of our interns at the Alliance for Sustainability.
So hi everyone, I'm a junior at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, studying environmental science, policy, and management with minors in public health as well as corporate environmental management. So as Terry mentioned, I've been in the Alliance since March of this year. I kind of help out with blog posts, social media, fundraising, and just anything else that they need help with. But I'll be back if anybody has any questions or if you want to learn more about how to get involved, just learn more about what we do here at the Alliance. So maybe in the back if you have any questions.
Thanks so much, Abby. It's wonderful being able to have you. Just a few little things first before we begin. First is, if you have to go early, in the back and in the front we have sign-up sheets. And the sign-up sheets will give you a free membership in the Alliance. And in addition to that, we have a paper that I'll be sharing with you, the ideas from, which has all the tips that I'm going to share. And this is also being broadcast live stream and is being recorded on Facebook if there are other people you know that you'd like to share it with on the Alliance for Sustainability's website. So that material is here, plus some of the other talks that we're going to be giving at the State Fair. We have a talk on Wednesday, 2 talks on Wednesday at 10 and 2. And then also, which will also be live streamed, and one on Thursday where Abby's going to be speaking at all 3 of these talks, where we're going to have our sustainability students and interns who are going to be speaking. If you sign up as a membership, we give you a 10% off at French Meadow Bakery and Cafe, who's been partnering with us for a long time. They're the oldest continually operating organic bakery in the United States. And so we've had a long-term partnership. So please, in the back or in the front, please feel free at any time to come up and enjoy that. So today I'm just really excited. This is sort of one of my favorite State Fair talks because it's very practical and very down to earth about simple things that you can do that are really easy and fun and can make a huge difference. So just curious where people are from. How many of you are from the Twin Cities metro area? Okay, great. And how about Greater Minnesota? Not so much Greater Minnesota today. How about Wisconsin? Anybody? Or anywhere else? Indiana? Did I hear that correctly? Welcome, Hoosiers. Great to have you. Thanks for coming. How many of you think that sustainability costs a lot more? Let's see your hands. Does it cost a lot more to bring about sustainability? No, a lot of good head shakes. That's good. Costs a little bit more. A few nods. Yes, thumbs and nods. Costs about the same. Anybody? Costs less. You actually save money. Oh, there's a thumb up. Another. That's great. Good. I'll just say just briefly about my background. I have a consulting firm, Sustainability Associates. I've worked for more than 40 years in all aspects of sustainability in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, working for various companies like Aveda and Cargill. and my own consulting firm. I've worked in the White House under President Carter and for 2 different congressmen, and then helped to co-found the Sacramento Community Garden Program. And then have worked with Minneapolis College of Art and Design, the University of Minnesota, and also done research in 45 countries around the world, whether it's possible to feed everybody on the planet without destroying it in the process. And also I've written 2 books, Breaking the Pesticide Habit on Alternatives to Hazardous Pesticides, and the Humane Consumer and Producer Guide, which we did with the Humane Society of the U.S., the first ever guide about farmers who are doing humanely raised animal products. So the mission of the Alliance is to co-create sustainability on a personal, organizational, and planetary level. We are almost 40 years old. We have a free membership, so you can also sign up online at www.afors.org. We have a weekly e-newsletter that's really fun, so you get that if you just sign up. And we welcome your submissions, your ideas. It's really creative and cool. We have a great declaration of co-creation and interdependence, which is a really bold statement that hopefully you'll go look at on our website and sign. We have a green print, our plan for action to bring about a shift. We've been promoting one of our board members' book, Lori Myron Manbeck's You Can Save the World. It's a wonderful book, a great gift. We also work with Lori on a sustainability challenge. So that's been wonderful that you can participate in this coming January. And Lori works with us. She does a weekly podcast called Inclusive Talks Sustainability. And finally, we have a She Kindness campaign, standing for sustainability, health, equity, and kindness. And it's a campaign to try to bring about personal shifts in people's lifestyles, but also organizational transformation and policy changes and campaigns for companies that are doing good things and to challenge companies who have not. So today, what I'd like to do is just share first, what is sustainability? Second, 10 simple steps you can take to save money and the environment. And then open up to any questions and discussion. But if you have any questions at any time or comments, please feel free, just let me know, and we will address them. And for those of you who are on our Facebook live stream, please add in any comments at any time. We won't be able to deal with them right now, but we'll look at them after the presentation. So we welcome that. So the idea of sustainability is really a very old idea, and it's been embodied in every different spiritual tradition. I'm not going to spend time going into all of those, but every major religious tradition has phenomenal teachings about sustainability. So it's got very ancient roots. But the term itself, sustainability, has only been around about 40 years. At the Alliance for Sustainability, we came up with one of the first definitions, which I'll share with you right now. So there are a lot of definitions, but this is the one that we came up with, and that is, it's a 4-part definition. First, it's a system that is ecologically sound. Second, economically viable. Third, socially just. And fourth, humane, meaning to embody our highest values. So how we treat people, animals, and the planet. And it's sort of like a chair that you sit on that has 4 legs. We feel that you need all 4 of these legs to actually bring about sustainability. The most widely used definition comes from the United Nations, and that is that sustainability or sustainable development meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to have their needs met. So we're not just talking about people, but all life, being able to assure that all life can have their needs met. So this is sort of our thinking about sustainability overall. It's almost like sustainability is a North Star, and it's our guide to where we need to go. And I'll be honest and I'll say nobody, no culture has achieved true sustainability. It's really way out there. It's a place that we have to keep growing and learning, and it will keep evolving over time. It's really a vision of the world that we really would then like to create. And there are a lot of other approaches to bringing about sustainability, lots of other names, regeneration, resilience, permaculture, circular economy, and many other approaches. And we feel sustainability engages and supports each one of those approaches. And the idea is that we're trying to look at it from a holistic, integrative perspective that really embodies all aspects of life. So, I want to just get right into the money-saving issue, all right? So here is the big deal. I have in my hand $2, okay? And I am willing to do the best state fair deal there is. Whoever comes up here and gives me $1, I'm going to give you $2. So does anybody want to make 100% return on your investment? Here she comes. Is this Indiana? Is this Indiana? Were you from Indiana? I didn't remember. All right, you're from here. All right, come here. You gotta come up here. All right, yeah, step on up. Great. What's your name? Kayla. Kayla, you just got a pretty great deal, didn't you? Would you do that again? Okay, good. Well, Kayla is very smart and she's fast. Yeah, so Kayla just made $1, 100% return on her investment. But here's the question, Kayla. Did that money just sort of fall from the sky into your hands? It fell from my hands, but what did you have to do to be able to get that money? Yeah, you had to give me money. In other words, Kayla had to invest $1 and she got $2 back. That is sustainability. You can make these investments, and I'm going to show you throughout this presentation how you're going to save a lot of money. You make a small investment, but the other thing it takes besides investing money is, what did you have to do? You had to make an effort. It didn't just happen. You had to walk up, you had to take a little bit of time, and that's how sustainability is. If you do that, you can actually make and save a lot of money. So Kayla, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let's hear it for Kayla. Yeah, Kayla got a good deal, and I want to just say to all of you who missed out on that state fair special that I'm going to show more. Very easily, there'll be more ways that you can save money. So just with that, just talking about sustainability, any questions, comments, things that I shared about sustainability or whatever that confuse you or you're wondering about or challenged by anything? Okay, then we're good. So let's start with the first of the things that you can do to actually save lots of money. The first is simply to recycle and think before you toss. So simple things like an aluminum can. Only about half the aluminum cans in the United States are recycled. Only about half. Which is horrible if you think about it, because we throw away enough aluminum cans every 3 months to rebuild the entire U.S. commercial air fleet. Every 3 months. That's how much we are throwing away. Unbelievable. Making a new aluminum can from a used one actually takes 95% less energy. So your recycling actually is dramatically reducing energy use and greenhouse gas emissions at the same time. How hard is that? Just to recycle. So it really matters a lot. And 20 recycled cans can be made with the same amount of energy needed to produce one can using virgin oil. So it's really quite remarkable. What are the benefits? Yes, question. Kayla, oh, I can't quite hear you. Come over. That's a really good question. Should you crush or not crush? And I've heard two different responses about that when I talk to recycling officials. In general, recycling has gotten to the point that it doesn't matter. If it's only aluminum, that's just fine. Where it gets trickier is with some of the other containers, and especially containers that have a top, and like milk containers, they like you to actually keep the top on it, and it's just much easier for them than crushing it, which is sort of odd, but that's sort of what they say. Does that answer that? Yeah. Great, thanks. So, what are the benefits? Well, 40% of the Minnesota municipal waste, solid waste recycled in 2006 had about 46 trillion BTUs of energy. That's enough energy to actually provide energy for 410,000 households. That is a huge amount of savings to power. So we're talking not a small amount of energy that's saved. In 2003, recycling 1.5 million tons decreased greenhouse, a 1 million ton decrease in greenhouse gases, which is the equivalent of getting rid of 1 million cars off the road. That's only here in Minnesota. Just like there would be no cars on the road just by doing recycling, an equivalent. It's that big a savings. So this isn't a little thing. This is huge. And you know, sometimes people will throw recycling into trash containers and that kind of thing. It's really a horrible waste. We created 20,000 jobs from Minnesota's recycling industry. So it creates jobs at the same time. It brought in $64 million in taxes, and it added almost $3 billion to the state's economy. I mean, we're all paying for this. And you know, by doing recycling, we're saving huge amounts of money and creating jobs. So it's a win-win-win. Now here's the bad part. We toss more than 1 million tons of recyclables every year. 1 million tons. That's equal to losing $312 million in value. And the disposal costs $200 million. So we're talking $500 million is lost just because we don't recycle those containers. So this is a huge opportunity. We all talk about it, but this is a very simple step that we can all take. And here, this will blow your mind. This way. The U.S. uses 30% of the world's resources, and we create 30% of the world's waste. 4% of the population of the world. 30%. All right, so that's a problem. But we can reduce our waste by 1% a year and divert 90% of the discards from landfills and incinerators by just doing recycling, reusing, and composting. How simple is that? Huge, but here is what will blow your mind. That, by doing that composting, recycling, reusing, actually is so huge, it would reduce greenhouse gases by 406 megatons a year. That is as if we closed 21% of the coal-fired power plants in the United States just by recycling and composting. This is not hard. We can change the world very quickly and easily. It's not difficult. And so there's a whole push by mayors to help try to address this. So any questions or comments on this first one about recycling and composting, about the difference that we can make? Does that make sense? Yes?
I didn't hear the answer to her question about crushing the pop cans.
Yeah.
And you said something about milk bottles with the lids on them.
Yeah, so the question was, that first question about, is it okay to crush cans? And the answer is yes, that's okay. As long as it's only the can, the aluminum, nothing in it and that kind of thing. And the second about like milk jugs and stuff, it's best to keep the tops on it and not to crush them, even though they're a drag because they take up a lot of space. Yes? So that's a great question about what to do when you have glossy paper. Recycling programs right now do accept glossy paper, so you can use that glossy paper. Because it's a smaller percentage of the total paper that they get, if it were all, it would be harder because there's clay in it and there's that kind of challenge. But you certainly can compost it. You know, my preference is to try to reuse it as much as we can. Is that good? Any other questions? Number 2, this is the $1,000, okay? Rechargeable batteries. How many of you use rechargeable batteries? Just curious. So maybe a third of us use rechargeable batteries. This is the simplest, easiest way to save a massive amount of money. Watch this. 2 rechargeable batteries are equivalent to using 1,500 batteries over their lives. These are batteries that you take, you dispose of after you've used them. 1,500. Imagine all the mining. But you've got to pay for all those batteries. They look cheap if you got them in a big group and everything, but when it comes down to it, you're actually losing a huge amount of money. These batteries will last 4 times longer, and they work in high tech, so you can use them for anything. The charging capacity and every aspect of their use is far better than they have ever been. They can be recharged 1,000 times in most cases, 500 to 1,000 times, and you can recharge at any time. And the only bad thing about them is they have to be recycled at the end of their life. That's the difference. You have to recycle them because they have heavy metals in them, and there are various types. But these 2 batteries that you would buy, the net effect is you would save $1,000 by purchasing just 2 batteries over their lives. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? How hard is that? So a great, great way to save yourself a lot of money. Any questions about batteries? Is that good? All right. Number 3, switch to LED light bulbs. Now this is getting easier and easier because the price of LEDs has come down so much, and it's really hard to get incandescents in most cases. How many of you use LED light bulbs? Just curious. That's great. So it's about 90% of you. That's wonderful. When I first started doing this, it was amazing because very few people used LEDs. And sometimes the LEDs were not as good. But now they've gotten really, really good, and you can get them in cool or warm, whatever you like, natural daylight. Each of these will save you, each one will save you $102 over their 22-year life. $100 per light bulb, just by having it. What a great deal. They will pay for themselves in just under 1 year. 1 year to pay back the cost, because they cost a little more than what we used to pay, although the cost keeps coming down. They use 85% less energy, and they reduce your air conditioning demand because incandescent bulbs heat the space. 90% of the energy of an incandescent bulb or more is for heat, not for light, for heat. So why would you have a heater in your ceiling? It just doesn't make sense. And then you have to use air conditioning to get rid of that heat. So these are far better in that way. They reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 86 pounds per year. That's like not driving your car. Just one of these is like not driving your car for 3 days in terms of savings. They save 25 bulbs from the landfill. There's no hazardous material in them. And by 2027, the widespread LED use could save the equivalent annual electrical output of 44 large electric power plants and save us $30 billion just by people switching over. We could do this. This could be an easy fundamental change. So any questions or comments on about light bulbs, LEDs? And you'll notice that all exit signs now have all become LEDs. The stoplights, all of that kind of thing have all switched over because they are saving cities huge amounts of money. All right, let's go on to number 4, smarter commuting. So, public transit can save money and time, reduce congestion and stress and pollution. So, you can save about $1,000 per year for the average household by using public transit. 50% less energy and emissions per mile. Commuters would save $985 million a year, and businesses $300. Transit saves about $164 million a year, and traffic congestion is the number one livability issue in the Twin Cities. Number one. Congestion in 75 U.S. cities costs $67.5 billion. And benefits of bus versus car commuting. Compared to other household actions, public transit can be 10 times greater in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Commuters switching to public transit can reduce their household's CO2 emissions by 10%, or 20 pounds a day. The average household spends about 18% of every dollar on transit. And by using public transit, you can save $779 per month, or $9,343 a year. Almost $10,000 in savings by switching to public transit. And here's an example of one guy who calculated the benefits from his mixture of taking the bus and biking instead of driving. He reduced his CO2 by 3,260 pounds. He saved $2,500 in a year. He burned 134,000 calories, or 38 pounds of fat, by being able to do this. So it's not hard. And now we have great electric bikes. So for those of you who have issues with knees, or you have to go up hills, or you go into the wind, this is really how I get around. I have a fabulous electric bike. This was my very first electric bike. They go 20 miles an hour. You can do all your shopping. It's what people use in Europe and in Japan to be able to get around. It's really simple, easy, and fun. And if you do drive a car, here is a big savings you can do starting today. This is so simple. In Sweden, they teach people to do what's called eco-driving. It saves money and energy. If you properly inflate your tires, you avoid sudden stops and starts, and you drive the speed limit, you will save 25% or more on your fuel costs. 25% savings by just doing those 3 things. This isn't hard. This is really easy. So any questions or comments on commuting? Okay. Number 5, switch to a battery-operated electric lawnmower. This is such a great way to go, and I'm really happy because when I first started doing these presentations at the fair, nobody had these. I had really one of the first. This was my lawnmower. I had really one of the first, and now Home Depot and all the other Menards, everybody has all kinds of electric mowers. They've come a long way. They have much wider cutting area. They last much longer. They're really fabulous. So what are the benefits? First, they're easy to start. They are almost no maintenance whatsoever. They cost $5 a year to operate versus $70 for a gas-powered mower. They have 1/10 the amount of noise that a gas-powered mower does. And this is unbelievable, but 1 hour of mowing with a gas mower, 1 hour of mowing creates as much smog pollution as driving a car for 340 miles. People don't think about it. It's a small little engine, but very inefficient. And so it produces a huge amount of pollution. And you can reduce it dramatically just by switching over to an electric battery-powered lawnmower. So any questions or comments on lawnmowers? Make sense? Okay. Number 6, avoid plastic water bottles and use refillable ones. So, Americans used 50 billion plastic water bottles in 2006. We use even more now. That's 167 bottles per person. Water bottles are made entirely of recyclable polyethylene or PET. But the recycling rate for PET for these bottles is 23%. That's all. 77% of all of these plastic water bottles are tossed. And it's really such a huge waste. 38 billion water bottles are landfilled a year. That's more than $1 billion worth of plastic. This is not right. What are the alternatives? Well, I'm really proud to say that the largest park district in the state of Minnesota, Three Rivers Park District, has been a real leader in all aspects of sustainability. We did a sustainability presentation for them, and they've gone on to do incredible things. So just with water bottles, they maintain their current beverage selection, but they replace one-use disposable plastic with environmentally responsible alternatives, like compostable cups, reusable bottles, and aluminum cans. They sell low-cost reusable beverage containers with your beverage of choice. They promote free water sources. They provide educational messages informing the park guests of issues regarding plastic bottles, and they encourage reusables. And the thing is, what's amazing is, it's had almost no impact on their revenue whatsoever, and it has decreased their waste costs because they're not throwing out as much. So any questions or comments on plastic water bottles? Okay. Number 7, eat fewer animal products. You can have huge savings from plant-based foods. It's actually stunning. A vegan diet, I'm an organic vegan, you can save $1,277 per year by switching over. The direct U.S. healthcare costs attributable to meat consumption were estimated at $61 billion per year, including hypertension, heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, directly related to the meat consumption. And here, this is totally stunning. Nobody talks about this. Low meat diets, that's not saying no meat, just low meat diets, could cut climate change costs in half by 2050. They would save $20 trillion. 20 trillion. So what we eat does make a huge difference. According to a great Stanford pediatrician, Dr. Alan Green, the standard American diet, which we call SAD, which is exemplified at the state fair, will take 20 years of life off each person. 20 years is lost due to that diet. And it's going to cost us $3 million per person in medical costs. $3 million. So making this change can have a huge, huge impact on our health, on our longevity, and our quality of life. The impact of livestock is huge. It's one of the top 2 or 3 most significant contributors to the most serious environmental problems at every scale from local to global, according to the United Nations. Livestock cause 18% of global warming. That's more than all of the cars, trucks, SUVs, planes, and transit combined. Livestock produce 100 or more other polluting gases, including more than 66% of the world's emissions of ammonia, which is a main cause of acid rain. They're a major deforestation source. Overgrazing is turning 1/5 of our pastures and ranges into desert. Now, you don't have to become a vegan to actually make a difference. More and more people are looking at having a meatless Monday. So just one day a week where you're not having meat. And look at the list of those organizations and individuals who are doing this and promoting it. Sodexo, which is one of the world's largest food services, Puma, San Francisco, City of San Francisco, Johns Hopkins Hospital, Oprah Winfrey, Yoko Ono, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ellen Mayer, Antonio Villagrosa, the AARP, University of California, Davis, Russell Simmons, Sir Paul McCartney, James Cameron, Robin Roberts, Philippe Cousteau, Toyota, Simon Cowell. There's a great book, if you're interested, called The Engine 2 Diet, written by a firefighter from Austin, Texas, who's also a triathlon champion. And this Engine 2 diet is great. They took it to the firehouse. Many firehouses have used it. And the firefighters lost weight on this plant-based diet. They lowered their cholesterol. They significantly reduced their risk of disease. They became physically fit. And you know how long it took? 4 weeks. That was all for them to be able to make that change. And Whole Foods is now actually promoting this book and this whole approach with their employees. So any questions or comments on diet, reducing our meat, plant-based, any of that? Any questions? Okay, let's go on to number 8. Consume less water. Well, don't drink less water, just don't waste water. We need lots of water. Turning off the tap when you are brushing your teeth can save 1 gallon of water every time, just by turning it on. Using a faucet and shower aerator cuts in half the water and cuts hot water costs in half. Using a front-load washer uses 50% less water and 30% less energy. All of this saves you money, so that's a good thing. But what nobody talks about is that in every municipality, every city in the United States, guess what their #1 energy use is? I'll give $1 if anybody can guess this one. I hadn't planned on it, but I'm really inspired now. Yeah, let's hear it. Water for what? Let's hear it. To get sewer. Sorry, that's a problem. What's the other guess? What's that? I couldn't quite, can you speak up a little louder? Household appliances. Sorry. What the #1 use is pumping water. You know, for you to get water pressure, they have to pump water up into the water tower so you get pressure. That's the #1 use of energy in every city, pumping water. So we have to remember, every time we use water, it's not just that we're using water, we're actually using up energy. I mean, it's huge. And nobody talks about this. It's stunning to me. I don't really understand. So it can make a huge difference. Here in Santa Monica is one of the first in dealing with all this. They use low flush toilets, they use native landscaping, xeriscaping, and they were able to reduce their water usage by 6% just by using those 2 things. One of my clients in my sustainability consulting, Ridgeview Medical Center out in Waconia. Any of you from out there? It's an amazing, very progressive center. They save $25,000 a year on their water use. They have decreased water use by 21%. That's 3 million gallons a year. They have low flow toilets, sinks, and showers. They reduce their lawn. They have low water plantings. They have lawn irrigation based on moisture. They have water cooled equipment, recirculation reservoir and water cool to allow reuse, and air handling and condensation water used in cooling towers. So businesses can save a huge amount of money by doing this. So any questions, comments on the water issue? We good? All right. So it looks like we've got about 6 more minutes, and I think we'll be able to get through them all. So number 9, use less paper and only post-consumer recycled paper. Okay? So There are so many opportunities to save on our paper use. E-communications reduce paper use 10 to 30%. Duplex copying, 20% reduction where you use both sides. Cloth napkins, get this. If you switch from paper napkins to cloth napkins, you will save $1,354 in 5 years. And if you use cloth towels, you'll save over $1,000 over 5 years. $200 a year in savings by switching to reusables. A ton of post-consumer recycled paper saves enough energy to power a home for 6 months, and it saves 7,000 gallons of water. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of water to be able to make paper. A lot. So using post-consumer recycled paper actually saves even more. There are paper-free office electronic records management that reduce paper and costs. They're easy and efficient. It's a great way to go. So here is my trick question. Let's see if you can handle it. Do we want recycled paper? How many hands say we want recycled paper? Some hesitant hands, we have a few, okay. The answer is no. And the reason is we want post-consumer waste recycled paper. Why? What? That was a trick question, but I'll tell you why it matters. All paper is recycled. Nobody makes paper that isn't recycled. Because when you make paper, you make the paper, you cut it, and any of that waste paper gets recycled back to make more paper. And they just do that over and over again, any of the waste. You can call that recycled paper. Don't buy recycled paper. Buy post-consumer recycled paper. What does that mean? That's the paper that you collected from your home or your business and you have it recycled. If we don't buy post-consumer recycled paper, we're not closing that loop. So it's really, really important when you're buying paper to buy post-consumer recycled paper. Does that make sense? Get this. If everybody bought one roll of post-consumer recycled paper, just one roll, all Americans bought one roll that is 100% recycled, it would save 300,000 trees, 1.2 million cubic feet of landfill, which is equivalent to 1,400 garbage trucks, 122 million gallons of water, a year's supply for 3,500 families of 4, and there's no toxic chlorine used for bleaching. Simple. One roll can make a huge difference if we all would do it. So any questions or comments on paper? Does that make sense? Okay. Last one. Consume less and live a happier, more fulfilled life. This is such a cool one that we don't think about. Here's a cartoon from the Sierra Club that says, I want to sue the Sierra Club for pain and suffering, for making me aware of the pain and suffering caused by my lifestyle choices. So a little humor there about what we're doing and all of the pain and suffering it causes. And from the Tao Te Ching, if you realize that you have enough, you are truly rich. So, here is something from the Children's Defense Fund. And these are stunning statistics. It shows the difference between when we invest in people or we don't invest in people. If we invest in people, in after-school programs, it costs $3,800. University of Ohio State University, $20,000. $40,000 for a Job Corps training program. But the net benefit from us investing in that person, they will bring in $1 million in net benefit. Small costs, huge benefit. However, if we don't invest in this young person, what will we pay for? Juvenile detention will cost us $49,000. The Ohio Correctional Facility, $123,000. The adult prison, $26,000. What is the total cost to our society by not investing in this young person? $3.8 million. Each person will cost us $3.8 million. And if you think about it, that is a total between when we invest and when we don't invest of nearly $5 million per person. What a waste. What a cost. And this is something that Republicans and Democrats and Greens and Independents can all agree upon. Now, we do have a challenge. Where am I? Am I at time? All right. I'm just going to quickly wrap up and say that one of our biggest challenges is our consumption addiction. We consume the planet to death. And that's a disease we call affluenza. And there are alternatives to that. We can do voluntary simplicity, and just because of time, I won't go into this. But it's a simple thing to actually consume less. People find that they're much happier. Overall, 87% of people reported that they were happier living more simply. And we have great work by this man, Dr. Manfred Max-Neef, who got the Alternative Nobel Prize for his work in bottom-up, people-centered, sustainable development. And his idea is that we can meet people's fundamental needs with unlimited amounts of learning, laughter, love, community, and meaningful work while eliminating what we don't want: stress, expense, pollution, and violence. And so he has these 4 ideas. These needs that we all have are defined and possible to classify. There are 10 of them: subsistence, protection, security, affection, understanding, participation, leisure, creativity, identity, meaning, freedom, and transcendence. And what he says about these needs is that they are the same in all countries throughout all history. Every human being has always had these same fundamental needs. They're not interchangeable. So you can have a lot of one thing like money, and it doesn't do anything about meeting the other fundamental needs that we have. And it's why he argues that the U.S. is perhaps the poorest country in the world in terms of meeting fundamental needs. And the key here is that we can have more satisfaction and consume less. We don't need to consume more. We can save huge amounts of money and actually be happier and more fulfilled. And there's a great example of a greenhouse with an apartment building. It allows people to connect, to grow their own food, to have a sense of security, identity, meaning, creativity, participation, leisure. And this is what Mike Nickerson said, a great Canadian sustainability leader: we can no longer have everything we want. And I was very sad when I heard that, but we can do more than we ever imagined. And that's really the incredible opportunity that's before us that I hope you'll help share. We'd love to have you as a member of the Alliance. We'd be happy to come do a presentation for your community, your school, your business, or whatever. And finally, just this last quote: when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds, your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. From Patanjali. So, open to any questions. I know I'm going to have to get off the stage in just a moment. I'll be happy to talk with you in the back, where you can ask Abby. And again, in the back, we have a sign-up sheet, and also up front, we'd be happy to give you a free membership in the Alliance for Sustainability. We get our weekly e-newsletter, and if you sign up, I'll also send you these 10 points that I was sharing with you. And we would love to have you be involved. It's how we are trying to grow to more than 1 million members and organizations to really bring about this information that we shared with you and a fundamental shift. And if you know other people that are going to be coming to the fair, if you're coming back, we have several different presentations we'll be doing on Wednesday and Thursday, and we'd love to have you for that. And we also have a sheet, and you can ask Abby or come up here and get the sheet, which has ways if you would like to get involved. We would love to have you involved. And finally, our partner, French Meadow Bakery and Cafe, if you sign up, you get a 10% off coupon for eating at French Meadow. So with that, thank you very, very much. It's been wonderful to be with all of you, and be happy to answer any questions after I get off the stage. Thanks so much.